So in this next clip, I dealt with a positive spin on what Bernie Sanders could do to win. A lot of things, this happened last year right after the Netroots Nation. This is the video that came right after Netroots Nation, and also after Black Lives Matter Seattle shouted down Bernie Sanders. And I spoke of it from a positive point of view of what Bernie Sanders could do to win, because I knew that if I said the exact opposite, if I said these are the things that Bernie Sanders is doing that's going to cause him to lose, then no one would be able to hear it. And so I addressed that in this video, and I want you to listen in on some of the things that we were talking about a year ago that actually played out exactly like we thought, because, you know, we saw it coming like a freight train, and unfortunately we weren't prepared to stop it. But this is one of those things that I wish I wasn't right about. But listen in on what Bernie Sanders could do to win.
Somebody on Team Bernie Sanders himself, obviously, but somebody on Team Bernie understands what he is going to have to do to beat Hillary Clinton. He must. Listen, folks, it was painful for people to watch Bernie Sanders get interrupted on last Saturday. And a lot of people have been running, and I've been talking about this all week, and hopefully this is the last day I have to talk about it. But people have been running to Bernie's defense, and people have been running to his defense by attacking or trying to undermine or question the validity and the methodology of Black Lives Matter, to the detriment of Bernie Sanders. What Bernie Sanders has to do to win, he must begin to communicate his message in a language that is not only palatable, but is relevant to other demographics that he needs to capture. Bernie must get minorities, and Bernie must get women. And one thing that Hillary Clinton has locked down right now is minorities and women. So there cannot be any equivocation. There cannot be any fear. You cannot win this by lecturing them. You cannot do this by trying to tell Black people that their problems can all be fixed if we just look at economics, when in reality, we do have an economic problem. Clearly, I can show you all of the economic roots of systemic racism. That is one thing I harp on a regular basis. Racism is just the tool of economic exploitation. White supremacy itself was for nothing else but to pull money out of people, to extract wealth out of people. I can definitely show you the economic roots, and that if we undo some of the economic problems, if we undo some of the things that were done to us in 1981 and hence after, then it would make it better for everyone. However, there are additional problems, and there are additional problems that must be addressed. And I'm so glad that there are some pragmatic adults on Bernie Sanders' team who can say, you know what, Saturday we had a little bump in the road, but we can absolutely win the minority vote for two reasons. One, Bernie has a great track record. That's true for three reasons. One, he has a great track record. Two, his economic policies are actually absolutely in line with the very same criticism of Black people that we have the criticism that Black people have of Barack Obama. The criticism that most Black people have of Barack Obama is that he's not far enough to the left. Believe it or not. I mean, think about it. Well, maybe you don't go. So let me vouch for, let me tell you about it. When I go to barbershops to get my hair cut, which I absolutely need to do, right? I don't hear anybody criticizing Obama about austerity. Man, we just need a little bit more austerity. If we just cut taxes a little bit more, everything will be great for the Black community. No. The critique of Barack Obama and the modern Democratic Party is that from African Americans is to the left of Barack Obama, not the right. We are upset because politicians have been bought by lobbyists and corporations. So Bernie Sanders can win for that reason. But then finally, Bernie Sanders can win because he, at his core, is a populist. But if we get so caught up And this is why I titled it what I titled it this morning. If we get so caught up on trying to defend Bernie instead of trying to make Bernie better for the general election and make him better to absolutely destroy Hillary Clinton, then we're going to do more damage to Bernie than we are good. What happened at Netroots Nation was pivotal. I cannot stress to you enough. What happened on Saturday was a gift to Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley. And that's why I think Hillary Clinton lost out by not being there. You're not challenged. Challenges, okay, here's my philosophical idealistic side. Challenges make you stronger. And listening to Bernie Sanders now, he probably understood before Saturday, right? But he didn't have the verbiage, he didn't have the language, he didn't have the talking points, and he was more timid with regard to just coming out and unashamedly saying that there is systemic racism in America. If you cannot say that sentence right now without fear of what people are going to say, you cannot get the minority vote. And if we're talking about how Bernie can win, the only way he could win is if he is a better advocate for African-American issues than Barack Obama, which is easy. And he's a better advocate for women issues than Hillary Clinton, which is that's the next phase. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the only way Bernie Sanders can give Hillary enough hell to actually win this primary. Now, I was listening to, I actually caught, what's your boy name? Tom Hartman. I saw a couple of his videos on YouTube, and I listen to him when I can on Sirius. And you know what? That's when I realized, the people that I've been dealing with on the internet, which are, I feel, I am of the opinion that people on the internet have more power than campaigns believe. Because they are the face, they are the average everyday face that we, the average American, that's who we deal with, that's who we interact with. And so when all you get from people online is, oh, well, Black Lives Matter should have done this and they shouldn't have done, even Cenk Uygur took the video from Saturday and got livid about it and tried to lecture Black Lives Matter. But then I stumbled onto Tom Hartman, and that's when I realized somebody gets it. Tom Hartman absolutely gets it. Whether or not, and again, I operate on two frequencies at the same time: pragmatist and an idealist. Whether or not Tom Hartman actually identifies with Black Lives Matter, whether or not he loves their movement, whether or not he was offended by what they did on Saturday, he is pragmatic and politically astute enough to realize that we need Black Lives Matter vote, the Black Lives Matter vote. And so he didn't get so distracted by what happened. What he did was begin to beat the drums of what is going on across the nation that is clearly an atrocity. It is clearly wrong. It is disgusting what happened to Sandra Bland. It should not have ever happened. She should not have been in jail. And so what I'm trying to convey to you guys with regard to Bernie Sanders and anybody else who is idealistic, when you see something like this happening, you should be able to see that it is damning enough for you never to have to lecture Black Lives Matter about their methodology. You just have to say what happened should never have happened. And if you elect Bernie Sanders, we'll make sure that that never happens again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we can help Bernie Sanders win. If we stop with the lectures and start saying, okay, every time we see systemic racism, every time we see an injustice, every time we may not like how Black Lives Matter does their thing, right? We may not like how they mobilize. We may not like how they protest, but damn it, I hate what I see going on in Texas more. I hate what I saw in Philly yesterday. Police officers handcuffed a man. 2 police officers had a man in handcuffs, punched him in the face twice, and then slammed him onto the car in front of a camera. There's enough there. The evidence is overwhelming. There should be enough for you to say, you know what? I may not like Black Lives Matter, but they have a point. And I believe that Bernie Sanders is the person who can address it the best. Let's stop lecturing them, folks. Let's stop lecturing them and listen to them. And I guarantee you, Bernie Sanders said it, and I'm going to play the clip coming up after this break. I guarantee you, if we start listening and start addressing, Bernie Sanders can whip Hillary Clinton's tail in the minority vote. And then we have to ask, how does he do it in the female vote? And there's nothing against Hillary. I just want to see a really good race. We'll be back after this break.